there it is. That's a Kelly Peterson 44, 1981. One of the last boats that they built. A couple different Petersons out there. Kind of confusing, but this is the one that Jack Kelly commissioned to build, and basically sold out of California. Draft is 6 feet 8 at the moment. When we load up for cruising for real, we're pushing about 7 feet, so not a popular boat for Florida's coast. A great offshore boat.
It's just a view of all the canvas that we use. We typically like to canvas out the boat. It keeps the varnish alive and well. Typically I only have to varnish about maybe 1 coat a year, and this is down in the Florida area, so that's cool. Might get 2. I'm supposed to get 2 coats a year on the outside tow rail because that's got a lot more sun. As you can see, the afternoon sun is burning in, but probably averaging about 1 a year. This is the hardtop that we built. We bought a center cockpit specifically to build a hardtop onto, as when we're offshore we like to be comfortable, so we must be getting old or smart. It's Divinycell foam and matte and polyester resin. The glasses are by Wynn Enterprises, Tuscumbia, Alabama. They do workboat glass, and they can do it any shape you want. They are totally not square whatsoever, as you can see. What I did is I cut out the windows the way I wanted them to be, and then rolled up the poster board, sent it to them, and then they did the oblong type cuts. All these 3 front windows open all the way, as the center one's completely open all the way. The air just comes flying through here on the hot summer days. They are tempered safety glass. The big advantage I like to that is we put the Rain-X product on there. The Rain-X product is amazing. If you've ever used it on your cars, it works just as well, if not better, on boats. Because out at sea there's no oil to get on your windshield, as if you're driving down the road. That's what breaks that stuff down. It sheds the salt spray incredibly well. If you notice that we have our instruments up there forward, quite a bit forward. A lot of the boats nowadays put them on their pod right here. But the reality of an offshore sailing is that you're going to be under autopilot or the wind vane probably 90 to maybe 95% of the time. Therefore, if you are interested in what your instruments are reading, you wouldn't want to walk behind the wheel to read them, because there's no reason to get behind the wheel, and you want to be mid-cockpit so you can actually be chilling out right here, command center, checking everything out. Do a little 360-degree view from here. And that sun's probably burning a hole through the lens. So that was the cockpit. Now we'll go down below. Okay, this is the main cabin, main companionway. If we come to our right hand side, we have a proper sea berth that we have a lee cloth that comes out from underneath and goes up and hooks up. Makes a really pretty decent sea berth. We can also drop the dinette down, and when we cross the Atlantic we certainly did that both ways. Drop that down, make that a big playpen. That becomes a romper room in there for sure. Got to have a lot of cushioning and stuff when you're offshore like that all the time. Here we have one of our favorite things on the boat, is a diesel Dickerson heater, and that runs from gravity-fed fuel tank, and it takes about 18 hours to use 1 gallon of diesel fuel. We think that's pretty good, and it's got settings from 1 to 7, and we've never run it anything over about a setting 2.5. So it gives you an idea. It puts out some BTUs for sure. Plus you've got the little fire in the little door and the little window. It's way awesome and super cozy. A little incense burner on top. Makes everything real nice. So we come up here into the V-berth. This is a regular V-berth, but what I did is I made a little desk out of it. And all the desk is a piece of plywood, threw some Formica over it, cut it down this centerpiece right here, That's a seam right there, and I have like those little lifting pintle type hinges or lift out hinges, and you've got 2 of them, and you pop that free. This becomes 2 pieces of wood, and each piece of wood, one goes over on this side here, and then the other one goes on that side there. The chair breaks down as best you can, and it stores in our engine room, and we become a regular sailboat with a V-berth. But office space is much more important for how we use the boat and how we don't have too many guests. So we always have a good time with all the people we meet out there. And it's so hard meeting airplane schedules that we've been kind of backing off from bringing out guests out on the boat, to be honest with you. This is our forward head. Forward head we use as a shower. It is a pretty large head, but we really hardly ever use this particular head right here. We do use it as a shower. When we're offshore, when we first bought this boat, it had 2 heads, and we're like, oh, what are you going to do with 2 heads? That's ridiculous. But I'll tell you what, it is really, really nice. We had so much stuff packed in here for our offshore crossings. We had the inflatable dinghy, the outboard engine. I mean, we just basically had barbecue grills, anything you can imagine. What a massive storage space this becomes if you don't really use it as a head, and instead, if you use it as sort of a storage facility. Come around here to the galley. The galley is probably kind of small, which is really, really nice. It's a U-shaped galley. Hopefully you can see that. The beauty of a U-shaped galley and being kind of small is you can wedge yourself in here real nice with the grab bars and all, and that's been extremely adequate for us. Navigation station over here. It's an older boat, 1981, so back in the days when people used paper charts, and certainly plenty of room on the nav station for chart kits and the like. Single sideband. The engine room is down a hallway, and there she is, Perkins 4154. Fantastic engine. We have about 6,300 hours on it. Never been rebuilt. It's been out, has yanked it out one time to paint the engine beds and kind of go over it with a fine-tooth comb when we first got the boat about 12 years ago. Probably the next time it comes out it may have to go bye-bye, but until it does something majorly horrible, we're going to try to hang on to it. Real good slow turning engine, 1800 RPM, pushes it along at 6 knots with our max prop. And then we got the ray core. Couple sails over there, very large storage area. Those sails obviously slide out. And I can get, see, I know I've gotten a 6'4" surfboard in here right there on that sling, so it's kind of cool. You can put your board in there if it's, kind of out of the way, out of mind, On the other side of that, we have a tool area here, just tons and tons of tools. One of the advantages of a bigger boat is you can carry all the heavy tools and stuff, fabricate parts, whatever you need to do. And then down here, these are little vent holes for the batteries. And typically on this boat we use for a house bank, we have only two, let's see, what are they, groups or banks? We have 2 6-volt, we have 4 6-volt Trojan batteries, okay? So they're, 220 amps a piece, that's 440 amp total. And then we have a typical cranking battery that the idea of using is if the other batteries were dead, but the solar panels keep up with it real well. And this is the aft cabin. Looks like we're going to have a problem with the sun angle. Sorry about that. Nice, simple, adequate. Oh, yes, the television. Evil television. The nice thing about the Peterson is you do have the hallway, but you also have the old companionway. And as great as that is, to be honest with you, these stairs going down the aft cabin, that could easily be made into a cabinet. Just haven't felt the need for the extra storage space yet. We don't seem to be using, in the last 14 years, we don't seem to be using this ladder very often to go in or out. I don't know why that is. So putting a storage space there would be a really good idea if you needed it. It is quite the duck to get through here. That's one of the disadvantages of the Peterson. Most modern people don't want to crouch down to go through little holes in boats like rabbits. But the beauty is, by having such a small hole, that means your cockpit is lower, and it's a much nicer, safer, and more enjoyable ride out in the ocean because your center of gravity and movement is lower. Lastly, we'll take you into the little tiny aft head. And this too does have shower potential by just pulling that out, pulling this sink out here like so. You know, blah blah blah. We hardly ever use this as a shower though. The only time is like when we came into Bermuda and we just so bad had to have a shower, and we had all our gear in that forward head, you know, for going across the ocean. But for the head, there it is, and that's the head that we use 99% of the time, unless we have guests. And it goes, pipes all its good stuff right under here into a holding tank. It's always good to sleep on top of your poo. Yeah, there's probably some smell involved. One thing that we found that works really well is a 50-50 or so vinegar and water, and we spray this into the bowl quite often. That really neutralizes all the nasties and everything else. I think I'm going to have to stop this video here because we're up to 10 minutes. Hard to believe. Today's wind speed is about 6 to 7 knots, and our boat speed's only down around 4 knots. But when we had a small boat, that was good speed. 4 knots is 100 miles in 24 hours, right? Hey, is it pretty cozy in this cockpit?
It's very cozy, it's delicious.
Alright, that's what we like to hear.
My perfect day.
Yes. Total relaxation. Total comfort.